What's up? What's up, you guys? Happy Sunday. This is the third time I think we've seen each other today. How you guys doing? Welcome, welcome, welcome. Come on in, come on in, come on in. Let's go ahead and get into this Real Housewives of Potomac reunion part 3. It is the conclusion of season 10. So let's get into it. Let me read y'all comments because, baby, y'all are already in here talking. Let me see what y'all saying before I get into what I got to say because, baby, I got some stuff to say. Hold on, let's see. Hey, everybody, see you around 10. Okay, Curran back, but I actually cackled when you turned to Stacy and told her the line has to stop. Ciao. Let's see. Did I say good morning? Oh, you talking about Quake. Okay. Yeah, Karen was something else. I don't know why she had so much vitriol for Wendy. I hear you. This weather and administration. Okay. Andy to ask Curran to advise Wendy. Oh, sure. While I am on Beloved's neck, Kern, your ass didn't answer questions and you served time. Wendy consulted her attorneys first. Okay. I'm with you, Chuck. Wendy was following her legal counsel's advice, which is what Kern didn't do. Ooh. None of the women on that panel could come after Wendy because they all are liars. Oh. Kern got on my nerves this episode. I'm so over this show. You got the ones with no storyline getting mad and calling out people they just don't want to tell their story. Just threw the whole thing show away. Ooh. Hey, Phil. Although I think someone in Wendy's house is guilty, I'm hashtag Team Wendy. This finale was annoying. I told y'all the Grand Dame is the real Wendy does talk too much, don't care what her lawyers told her. They are liars, but not loving federal charges is different. But not having federal charges is different. All right, so those are the comments. Let me go ahead. First of all, let me say something. Excuse me, Andy Cohen. Andy Cohen. Calling Andy Cohen to the front. Let me tell you something, Andy. There is no rule that says that all of these reunions have to be a 3-part. If the season wasn't given 3-part, we do not have to have a 3-part. This last episode could have been an email. We didn't need this. And y'all know I loved Kern. I love me some Kern, but baby, we could have put her on last week and you could have combined what we did last week and what we did this week, and that could have been one damn episode. This was a waste of time and energy, and last week's episode wasn't much better. The fact that you had a 3-part reunion, and generally speaking, part 2 and part 3 are the parts that ain't no good. I mean, that are the best parts. And you mean to tell me that part 1 was the best part out of all 3 of these parts? Now, a few things last week that came up that I thought we needed to talk about. But let me tell you why this episode didn't give me nothing. Number 1, these are my notes. That's it right there. From where that little squiggly line is, down. That's all I got. That's number 1. The fact that I don't have no notes should tell you that nothing happened. In my opinion. Now, y'all might feel differently. That's fine. But for me, ain't shit happened. Okay. Number 2, we spent the last 20 minutes talking about the same shit that we spent the first 20 minutes talking about was Wendy. If y'all were going to ask Wendy about excuse me, y'all. If y'all were going to ask Wendy about her charges and talk about we're going to address the elephant in the room on the front end, we didn't need to revisit it at the end. Why are we still talking about this? The fact that you spent more time at your reunion on something that wasn't a part of the show and didn't even happen until after filming was over should tell you where your season was. We spent more time on Wendy in this situation, and I get it. It's a big situation. Don't get me wrong. It's a big situation. But, hello. Number 2, the fact that your matriarch, the OG, didn't even have a package. Giselle, you should feel some kind of way that production didn't even feel that whatever you contributed to the season wasn't even worthy of a package. Ma'am, Jazzy got a package. Monique got a package and they were friends of. You mean the OG didn't get a package? I did not. I have not watched. I'm actually behind on Matlock, so no, I don't know what's going on Matlock. I'm like 3 episodes behind, so no. Somebody else told me the episode was good. I haven't watched it. I believe Kay told Cookie, and I believe Stacey this time. Jazzy, why are you so pressed about Stacey? Monique could have kept that receipt. She asked Stacey that when she saw her. So there's that. Now, let me go ahead and let's talk about it. Let's go ahead and talk about what did happen. So we start this episode off where we left off last week with Monique in this receipt that she has for for Stacey. Here's my issue with the receipt. If you can't tell us who said it and you can't tell us what was said, then I just felt like we didn't need it. And that's just my opinion. Baby, you're going to play an audio and you're going to bleep out the whole audio. We don't know who was talking. We don't know what they said. So I can't make an assessment on whether I think Stacey is telling the truth or not. Now, I did call one of my sources and I said, who was on that damn audio? Like, who was on that video? They bleeped it out for a reason. And they were like, they ain't know. Now, I don't know if they didn't know or they just didn't want to tell me. I respect it either way. But what I will say is, I was told, not by that person, but from somewhere else, that the belief is that it was one of Monique's kids. And maybe that's why they bleeped it out, because Monique can't show her kids and because that person is a minor, allegedly. That's what I was told. Now, I don't know that to be a fact, but that's what I was told. If it in fact came from one of Monique's kids, I absolutely don't believe it. Because what I believe, if Chris is the asshole you claim Chris is, why can't we just think that Chris said it? And they're repeating something that Chris said. Excuse me. I do not believe that Stacey involved Chris in this production. I don't. Do I think that Stacey knows Chris? I do. Do I think that Stacey and Chris might have gone out on a date? Sure. Do I think that Stacey picked up the phone and called Chris and told Chris anything that was going on with the filming of this show? I don't. Now, I could be wrong, but it's just my own opinion and my belief. Some people might believe Stacey is lying and Stacey called Chris every 5 minutes. I don't know. I absolutely think it was Kay. I absolutely think it was Cookie. And I think it was Kay. That's who I think. I think it was Kay. That's who I think it was. I don't know who it was. I'm just saying, whoever it was, if you can't tell me who it was and you can't tell me what they said, I don't care about your receipt. You know, again, and I don't feel like we should have been. I don't feel like they should have shown us that, because what as the viewers, what are we supposed to do with that? And like Stacey said, Stacey was like, Monique, we are literally talking about Cookie, because Stacey knows that Monique and Cookie don't fuck with each other. So Stacey's thing is, girl, you already know what kind of time Cookie is on. So you really about to make this a whole thing over something Cookie did or allegedly did or said? Girl, you know what Cookie is. And here's what I'm going to also say. For whatever reason, Cookie doesn't like Stacey. So do I think that Cookie put a battery in people's back against Stacey? Maybe, possibly, sure. Do I think that there could be some cahoots going on as it relates to Stacey? Sure, maybe. It's clear that the people don't like Stacey. It's clear that people had something against Stacey. I mean, it don't get much clearer than that. It's clear that there was I ain't gonna say it was the plan, but it's clear that people were coming from Stacey from the word go. So yeah, that's just where I am. And again, I could be wrong. Now, do I think that Stacey is 100% innocent on everything? No, I don't. I do think that Stacey lied about dating Chris because she probably didn't want to talk about it, didn't want to make it a storyline, but it came back in the bitter in the ass. That's my opinion. Do I think that Stacey lied last year on the reunion about the cannabis line? I do, but I think she lied because it was a business deal that she couldn't talk about yet because the ink wasn't dry on the contract, or maybe the contract hadn't even been signed yet. So yeah, I believe she lied about that. Yeah. The whole thing with the boy from last year. I'm sorry, the man from last year. Do I think that she asked him to be her boyfriend on the show for a storyline? I do. Do I think she agreed to pay him half of her contract and all that? No, I don't believe she agreed to pay him half of her paycheck. But I do think that they knew each other. They were co-workers. They probably were friends at one point in time. And I do think that she was like, hey, do you mind making our friendship look like it's a little bit more than what it's supposed to be? I believe that. So no, I don't believe that Stacey is 100% innocent. But I also don't think that Stacey is the villain that everybody's making her out to be. That's just where I stand on it. So I think Chris uses every interaction to spy on his wife, the kids, random conversations, etc. Unfortunately, it's not uncommon for jealous and vindictive ex-husbands to in situations like this. Yeah, again, I don't want to speak ill on Chris because I don't know Chris, right? I know what Monique has told us. That doesn't make it true. But what I will say is it does sound like their divorce, their separation, their co-parenting is very contentious for whatever reason. And it sounds like every little thing that can be used against each other, because I don't know what Monique's doing on her end. We don't know. We only know what she's told us that Chris is doing. It just sounds like it's contentious. I don't know why they hate Stacey. I honestly don't. I agree, Phil. Stacey is not a villain, but she is a liar. I agree. I don't feel like she's a villain, but she does lie. So there's that. That's how I feel about that receipt. I just felt like it fell flat. I just didn't think it was anything to it. The other thing I'll agree with is last week on the Whether You Like It or Not panel, I'm not sure if it was Jarrell or T that said that it felt like the show was rushed. It felt like Andy was just trying to rush through it. And I kind of defended that last week. I was like, well, they do a lot of filming. I just think the editing is bad. I think the editing is making it look like Andy is rushing through it. But I felt like it was being rushed. I felt like Andy was not interested in trying to resolve anything. The only thing that Andy did a lot of questioning was Karen and Wendy. Anything else, he did not give a damn about. He was like, oh, well, we're not going to resolve that. I'm moving on. Oh, well, we're not going to resolve that. I'm moving on. Oh, well, we're not. And I'm like, well, isn't that what the reunion is for? To try and resolve shit? Anyway. So next in my notes, I have the trips. I'm so glad that we did not have to rehash every single part of that damn Colorado trip. I'm just glad. I'm so happy about it. And for Giselle to say that she still wouldn't have gave Stacey a robe with her name on it, but she would have given her right size. Girl, go sit all the way the fuck down. That's that mean girl shit. She was like, well, I was being petty. Again, we knew you were being petty, but the fact that you're like, and I wouldn't do it any differently, even in hindsight, even realizing maybe I went too far, maybe I did too much. You know what? I could have got that. I could have got her name. I would rather her name be on the robe and the robe be too big than for you to be like, oh, my bad. I gave you the wrong size. I'll give you the right size next time, but I'm still not putting your name on it. I just think, to me, I understand being petty and being silly. I just think that's just too much. I just think that's mean girl. That's something that would really, that's something that can be hurtful. Even as an adult, I would be hurt. If I went on a girls trip, and I get it, it's a TV show, y'all, I got it, whatever. But if I went on a girls trip, oh, Monique, y'all remind me to go back to Monique. I want to finish this thought. If I went on a girls trip and all of the women had monogrammed little cosmetic bags that they could take home, and all of the women had a robe with their name on it, and I would have felt some kind of way if I didn't have nothing with my name on it. It would have been hurtful to me. Now, I ain't saying I would have had to go to therapy and sit on the couch. I mean, it wouldn't have been, but it would have been hurtful. to me, it would have been hurtful. But it is what it is. As far as the trip, let me say this about Monique before I forget. I noticed how Monique brought her book out, but they didn't let her plug her book. I think that was a little petty. Bravo, you could have let that woman talk about her book. Y'all let Ashley show the cover of her children's book that she ain't even written yet. Monique put the whole book out there. Y'all could have let that woman talk about her damn book. I just thought that was a little bit. I was like, damn, she can't even talk about the book because she had it in her hand. We saw her bring it out, and then we saw it in her hand when they went to commercial. So I don't know if they let her talk about it and then they edited it out, or they just never let her bring it up. I don't know, but damn, y'all could have let the girl talk about her book. Damn. But everybody talks about their stuff. All of them do that. Hell, Lisa Rinna wrote a whole book trashing the network. Xavier said the way she trashed the network. Lisa Rinna wrote a whole book trashing the network. And they literally gave her a one-on-one interview with Andy Cohen earlier this week. So miss me with that bullshit. It has nothing to do with she trashed the network. Lisa, have you read any of Lisa Rinna's books? She talked cash money shit about the whole network and Andy. And they gave her a one-on-one sit-down interview. Stop it. It might be on the Peacock version. You're right, Ravine. You're right. So, now as far as the Colorado trip is concerned, again, I feel like we're just hashing out the same thing we done already talked about. Angel said, look, I wasn't even on the text message thread, which sounds to me like they had a group chat that that Angel wasn't a part of, because again, for you to say I wasn't on the text message thread, but don't y'all have a group chat? I thought all of these shows had like a group chat for the show. Now I understand that people have their own side group chats because some people are cool and some people aren't, whatever. But there wasn't like a central group chat, Angel, where you could check in with the ladies. I think Angel got off easy because everybody was tired of talking about this damn. Everybody was tired of talking about this shit. But I agree. I feel like Angel did get off easy because I'm like, what you mean you weren't on the text message thread? And then she said, well, I didn't even know about the water until I talked to Jazzy, and she was the one that told me. But I agree with Giselle. If you're going to put them in separate houses, then you... But I'm going to tell you, know what? Something just hit me. I wonder if the reason why Angel got off easy and the reason why they didn't really spend a lot of time on this trip. I wonder if yes, I love my Stanley Cup. And I think I'm drinking more water too. But anyway, let me ask y'all this. Y'all tell me what y'all think. Do y'all think maybe, this is just a thought, it popped in my head while I was talking. Maybe they didn't make a big deal about this trip, and they didn't hammer too hard on Angel about this trip because what we were told that the production was the ones that really fucked it up is true. I wonder if that might be the reason why. Because remember, they told us that production was the one that made them split up the houses, that Angel really wanted to put everybody at the Ritz-Carlton, but production was like, no. And that house, production got that house. Angel didn't get that house, but Angel caught all the flack. And I'm wondering if that's why they didn't really hammer too hard on her, because a lot of that really wasn't on her. A lot of that was on production. I don't know if that's true. But I just wonder because... yeah, she got off real easy. You think about all the things that happened on that damn trip that went wrong. Now, you notice the one question that Andy did ask her was, how did you not know the location? Like, how did you get lost getting to your own spot? Because that was really something that was on her. That was on her. And I'm wondering. Plus, the way Andy said we won't visit this trip makes me wonder if whomever was in charge of coordinating will not anymore. Yeah. Production doesn't plan everything of the trip though. So like that's what Monique was saying. Monique was like, yeah, production does have a hand in stuff, but production doesn't plan everything from A to Z. Some of stuff is on the quote unquote host to take care of. And something like that, since it was at Angel's house, you would think that a lot of that would have been on Angel, but from what we've been told, Angel did not handle a lot of that stuff. A production did. Yeah, she said somebody gave her a pinpoint and the pinpoint was wrong. Right. So production handles travel and accommodation, then, but they don't always handle travel. Anyway, I was going to say something else, but right. So that means that the house wasn't on Angel. The house was on production, but Angel's getting all the flack for them being at this house that was an hour away from her house. Because from what I was told, she wanted to put them in the Ritz-Carlton from the beginning. And production was like, no. And that just for them to end up at the damn Ritz-Carlton. Thank you, Lauren. I'm sorry, the Four Seasons. I said the Ritz-Carlton. My bad. The Four Seasons. The Four Seasons. The Four Seasons. The Four Seasons, y'all. The Four Seasons. The Four Seasons. But hold on. Hold on, y'all. Sorry about that. Yeah. So yeah, they were at the hotel. We saw them. We saw them at the hotel. We saw them in Giselle's room. Remember, Giselle had the suite with the piano and all that stuff. Yeah. They didn't discuss. That's what I'm saying, Nandy. They didn't talk about any of that. They didn't talk about any of that. They didn't talk about hardly anything from this trip. Oh, they sell Stanley Cups in every color. They got Stanley Cups in every color, the prints, designs, all kinds of stuff. Mm-hmm. Um, next we see, so after we done with the trips, next we see Karen come out. And I'm gonna say this, and y'all are gonna probably be shocked when I say this. Y'all gonna be like, what really be? I can't believe you said that. Karen, girl, you was doing too much. You were trying too hard to give us grand dame energy. You were trying to get zingers in. You were trying to gag the girls, and you were trying to make moments. And in my opinion, they all fell flat. They all fell flat. I feel like you should have just came out and just answered the questions and just talked, because I feel like you were doing too much and it was not enjoyable. I was not enjoying watching Karen tonight. I didn't enjoy it. I don't like the fact that Karen can't say she's an alcoholic. I don't agree with her saying it's my, I get to word it however I want to heard it. No, you're a fucking alcoholic, Karen. There's no way around that. There's no nice. It's not supposed to be a nice word. It's not supposed to make you feel good. It's not supposed to be pretty and rainbows. And it's not a nice thing, but that's what you are. You are an alcoholic. And I do understand. But the fact that you would rather that you're okay with being called a drug addict, but you can't allow yourself to be called an alcoholic tells me you need more counseling. And that's my opinion. Karen was not drunk. No, Phil, don't do that. I always take stuff piece by piece. I don't, even when there's people I like, I can be honest about what I see. Or at least in my opinion. If she doesn't consider herself an alcoholic, gives her a space to continue drinking. I know, Phil. I know, boo. I know. Yeah. So yeah, that's just I didn't like that. She came at Stacey and talking about, you still lying? And Stacey was like, girl, what? Like, what you talking about? Now let's keep in mind, Stacey and Karen and Cookie are friends. Let's keep in mind that Karen and Cookie are friends. So Karen don't have nothing for Stacey. And maybe that's why Cookie don't like Stacey. I don't know. But Karen ain't gonna have nothing for Cookie because, damn it. Karen ain't gonna have nothing for Stacey because of that, right? Karen gonna go back to last season, child. I don't know. You could tell she watched the season. But again, Stacey was like, what you talking about? But she did say that she would like to sit down. Right. Monique doesn't like Cookie either. Right. I agree. That's why you remember, if you go back to that scene when they brought up Cookie, remember Monique said, oh, Cookie? Like, she blew it off when it was coming from Cookie. When KK said Cookie said da 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 da, Monique blew that off. If y'all remember that, go back to that episode where once they said it was Cookie, Monique was like, oh no. She was like, mm-mm. And that's when she even said that her and Cookie used to be cool, but then she found out Cookie was a liar and she stopped fucking with her. She found out that Cookie was going back and telling their private family business to people outside of the family, and she was like, that's when I stopped fucking with her. Then we have Karen and Wendy. Now let me say this. Karen, come here. I'm not. Nope, not Karen. Wendy. Wendy, come here, baby. You mean to tell me? Thank you, Phil. Karen has always been the real. Okay, I'm not. Thank you for the super chat, boo. You mean to tell me that for the past year and a half, we have been waiting to find out why you and Karen fell out? And you and Karen fell out because Karen said, Wendy, when those people were calling your mother a witch, I defended you. And you got mad because you said Karen called your mother a witch. Are we really, is this really what we're here for? Is this really where this started? Like, you can't be real that you and Karen fell out because of that. Because if that's the case, Wendy, girl, that's some bullshit. You stop fucking with Karen because you and Karen were having a conversation and she wanted to know why you weren't defending her enough. And she used the example of when the women were calling your mother a witch, how she had your back. And you really sat there and was like, you called my mother a witch. Girl, she did not call your mother a witch. She referenced what the other women called your mother, which was a witch. She didn't even call your mother. And I understand. I don't want nobody emailing me, texting me about Nigerian culture this and Nigerian culture that. I don't give a fuck. You mean to tell me that we went through all of this because Karen repeated what the other woman said about your mama? I ain't mad at Karen now. I ain't mad at Karen for talking shit about you, Wendy. I ain't mad at Karen for going to Stacey and talking shit. I ain't mad at Karen and going to nobody else talking shit. Because if that's what it is, That's some dumb shit. And Wendy, you lost a friend in Karen over something stupid. It was not that serious. I get it that that's your mama. But she didn't call your mother a witch. She said, I defended you when the other women called your mother a witch. I wish I could remember where I got it. I've had this shirt for so long. I'm about to have to get rid of it. It's got a little hole in it. But it says free-ish since 1865. It's like a Juneteenth t-shirt. Right, Sweet Pea. I really thought, I was waiting. I was like, oh, we're going to finally get to the bottom of why Karen and Wendy don't mess with each other. We're going to get to the bottom of this. And only for us to get to the bottom of it, and that was at the bottom, you called my mother a witch. Girl, nobody calls your mother no witch. She didn't use her mother. That was a legitimate example of when she said, look, I feel like you could be doing a better job of defending me. I defended you when they were talking about your mom. But when they called your mom a witch, I had your back. I don't feel like that. I don't feel like that she used her mom. I feel like she was being legit and using an example of why she felt some kind of way about Wendy. I don't feel that way. I mean, you can feel that way, and that's fine. What up, Don? Hey, boo. Was Wendy really upset, or Karen was upset that Wendy felt some kind of way mentioning the witch thing, not calling her mama a witch, but mentioning? Wendy said Karen called my mother a witch. That's what Wendy said. But Ravine, she didn't call her mother a witch. She repeated what was said about her mother. Karen didn't say, well, you know your mama is a witch, but I defended you anyway. That I could see her being mad about. She said, I defended you when they called your mother a witch. I don't know where y'all are coming from with that. I would not get mad at a friend of mine for saying, you know, I defended you when they was calling your mom out her name, when they called your mama a bitch. I wouldn't automatically be like, why would you call my mother a bitch? She didn't. She said, I defended you when they called your mother a witch. I don't know how y'all slicing this one. I mean, I get it. Y'all don't like Karen and whatever, but I don't see this one. Right. Ravine, she didn't talk about her. I don't know what y'all are hearing. Where's the disconnect for me? She's not talking about her mother. She repeated what the people said about her mother. Well, Karen said that that's when Wendy distanced herself from her. Wendy stopped fucking with her. She said that's where their relationship started. I mean, that's where the breakdown in their relationship started. What's the reason Karen was so mad she wouldn't acknowledge Wendy's support? She said, listen, again, I'm only going by what I saw, the same thing y'all saw. She said that is where her and Wendy's relationship started, when Wendy stopped fucking with her. That's what she said. And so she, I guess she was mad that Wendy wasn't fucking with her. I don't know. But for Wendy to say that's where their relationship got fractured, it legitimizes the fact that she stopped messing with her. Karen is being dishonest. The breakdown happened because Karen didn't say it. Wendy said it. See, y'all be hearing what y'all want to hear. Wendy said the breakdown in our relationship happened after she called my mother a witch. Karen didn't say that. Wendy said it. Y'all just don't like Karen, and y'all just want this to be on Karen. This ain't on Karen. This is on Wendy. By her own admission, she stopped fucking with Karen When she said Karen called her mother a witch, she said it. And from there, that's where their relationship fractured. And then Wendy got mad when she found out Karen was talking about her behind her back. But by her own admission, she stopped fucking with Karen. Like, y'all be hearing what y'all, because y'all don't like Karen, y'all be hearing what y'all want to hear. Right. Thank you, Xavier. You heard what I heard. That is not what Wendy said. Hold on. I'm going to go back. Hold on. Because that is not what Wendy said. Maybe I heard something different. But hold on. I'm going to let me see what I heard. Let me see what I heard. I think she was apologizing to get past it because I don't think she... Listen, I can only go by what they showed us. I think she was just trying to get past the moment and be like, fuck it. Fine. I'm sorry I said something about your mama. Hold on. Let me see here.
I believe you talked about me to Stacy.
Hold on. Let me see.
The whole DUI thing. I have held you down till today. So for you to specifically bring up my mother thing and then use the W word towards my mom, y'all expect what you...
Let me rewind it a little bit further because I want y'all to hear what Wendy said.
I just felt like you betrayed me when you went over to Stacy.
Karen said that Wendy was self-absorbed, wasn't a girl's girl, and she would never be my friend.
I have never said that to you. Do you believe this, Wendy?
You don't have to sign that for a minute.
So they went back to last season finale when they had the dogs, and Stacy told Wendy, Karen said ... about you. And Karen said, I didn't say that. Wendy, you believe that? And Wendy believed Stacy over Karen. That's what we talked. That's where it started.
Should we go get changed?
The betrayal was from you.
And here she says, the betrayal was from you.
I remember very specifically when we sat down to pick out dining wear for my 40th birthday party. And you referenced my mother as a witch.
And she said, and you referenced my mother as a witch. She didn't reference your mother as a witch.
And people were attacking your mother, calling her a witch. I had your back.
When people were attacking your mother, calling her a witch, I had your back.
My question to you is, why weren't you unwavering in support of me? When people are dragging you about this whole DUI thing, I have held you down till today. So for you to specifically bring up my mother thing and then use the W word towards my mom, I would expect what you did from the other ladies. I wouldn't have expected that from you. You went first. Go ahead. You betrayed me. You called my mother a witch.
She said, you went first. You betrayed me. You called my mother a witch. This started with Wendy being mad at Karen.
You call my mother a witch. For you to sit here and act like I took some pride in using that word disgusts me. You're the one that brought it up. And I can't believe you talked about me to Stacy. I don't understand how you're trying to flip this.
Ravine, you know what? I love you, boo, but we just gonna have to we just gonna disagree on this one because you want to make this on Karen. This is not on Karen. This is not on Karen. That is a reach. So you mean to tell me if I was in a room and a bunch of women were calling your mother I don't want to call your mother nothing nasty, but a bunch of women were calling your mother fat. I don't know your mama, Ravine. I don't mean no disrespect. And a bunch of women were calling your mother fat. And I said, Ravine, I defended your mama. I told them your mother was not fat. You mean to tell me you would interpret that as me calling your mother fat? Like you honestly, that's how that would translate in your head? Really be you called my mother fat. What you mean? I said I defended you when them women called your mother fat. I didn't call your mother fat. That's how it would break down in your head that I called your mother fat. Okay, moving on. I don't have that many notes. We just gonna, Ravine, I love you, but we just gonna disagree on that one, child. Moving on. Okay, Karen and Wendy, I just talked about that. George, I'm done with that. Then we spent the next 20 minutes once again talking about Wendy and the court case, which again, y'all don't have to agree with me on this one either, but I agree with Karen. Wendy, shut the fuck up. What you said last week on the first episode, was fine. I loved what you said in the first episode. You talked about how it's affected you and Eddie. You talked about when you were asleep, when the police showed up. You talked about what happened when you got arrested, what happened when you got booked. All of that I loved on the first episode. But on this one, I 100% agree with Karen. Girl, you are literally talking about what happened the day you came home. Do you understand that if you told that story different in any way, shape, or form, they can take anything you said and twist it and use it against you. If you had accidentally said your son's name instead of your daughter's name was the one that went up the steps, they could take that and twist it. If you had accidentally said, well, when we came home from Jamaica, I noticed that the carpet was dirty, they can say, well, you never said that in your original statement. You didn't say nothing about the carpet being dirty. Like, anything that you said that was different than what's in that paperwork, what's in the police report, what you told the police in your interviews, all of that, they can take it and turn it. Karen wasn't wrong. Now, Karen might have been wrong in how she told you, because, I think she was a little harsh in how she said it to you. But Karen wasn't wrong in saying, girl, you could have shut up. Hey, talking about, I've consulted my attorneys, and they knew the line of questioning. They knew the line of questioning, but they didn't know how you was going to answer. And even if you rehearsed it with I can't believe that your attorneys were like, yeah, you can go ahead and tell them anything that's in the paperwork. You can go ahead and tell them hell no. That is where you should have said, Andy, I've been very cooperative up until this point, but I can't, that I'm not going to speak on. I'm not going to speak on anything that is still going on. I just can't speak on it. Karen wasn't wrong in that one. Now, again, I know, but Karen wasn't wrong on that one. Let me tell y'all something. And this is true for all of y'all that's like, well, Wendy can say what she want to say, and it's not a big. Let me tell y'all something. And I was in that courtroom. Y'all know I went to New York, and I sat in that courtroom during part of Bishop Lamore Whitehead, as Don calls him, Lamore Whitehead trial. Can I tell you that literally at his trial, they brought up his lives that he used to do on YouTube and Instagram, and they brought up the things that he used to say on social media, and they brought up anything like things that he did when he spoke on his case. Do y'all understand that when they say anything you can say will be used against you in court doesn't stop just because you were bonded out and you're out here free? No, anything you say can and will be used against you. They literally pulled up audio from his Instagram, from his YouTube. They literally used stuff he said on YouTube to add to his indictment. He was already indicted. Do you understand? They put in a superseding indictment and added charges. So, Wendy, you did not need to speak on anything as it relates to the case. We didn't need to know nothing about what happened the day you got home from Jamaica. Everybody should have just had to wait until you testified if it gets that far. I read your paperwork, Wendy. I read your paper. I read the police report. I read the indictment. And we know people have gone to court. You didn't need to add to the story because anything you said that was different, they can use if they're trying to make it fit their indictment. They already have the idea that you are guilty, Wendy. You said that man, when he showed up to arrest you, said, "Do you remember me?" And you said, "Yeah, you're the guy that did the police report. Did they find the robbers?" And he said to you, "Your house wasn't robbed." It may not seem like a big deal to us, y'all, but it could. And I'm not saying it will be. It could be. It could be a big deal depending on if she said anything different. Hairpin said rules of evidence aren't clear. As long as she stuck to her attorney's words, she should be okay. Who's to say she did, though? We don't know what she said versus what her attorney told her to say. I think it would have been better for her not to say nothing. She had already given us a lot. I don't feel like she needed to give us that. That's just my opinion. And I'm not saying it's going to hurt Wendy. I'm not saying it's going to. I don't think she needed to take that chance. I don't know there's a twinge of racism in her case. You think that. I don't know that. You said we know. I don't know that to be a fact. I do not know that to be a fact that there's racism involved in Wendy's case. I don't know that to be a fact. I know that's a thought. I know that's what Wendy has said. I don't know that to be a fact. That's why this only needed to be 2 episodes and not 3. Because if you're right, if Wendy doesn't say anything them last 20 minutes, they don't have it. Maybe they could have given. If Wendy hadn't said nothing, maybe they could have just gave Giselle a package. How about that? They'd have had time to tell us what was going on in Giselle's life. I mean, that it took only 5 minutes, but no problem, boo. I'm just saying I don't know that to be a fact. I don't know that racism was a part of this. I don't know that. Right. Most of these, we've only had a few reunions that I felt like needed to be 3 parts, but most of them do not need to be 3 parts. They could have kept this 3rd part. They really could have. The prosecution can't pay Andy to ask questions. Child. I just hope there's a diverse jury. Oof. She might have a hard time with that. Where she live. Her attorneys should ask for a change of venue and should go and try to get into Baltimore County. Because the county she lives in is right next to Baltimore. It's right next to Baltimore County. She's in Calvert County. She should ask for a change of venue. Yeah. Only time we need 3 parts are for fights or sex scandals. Yeah, I mean, we definitely didn't need no 3 parts. I mean, we didn't. They need to change the venue anyway because the prosecution leaked so much. The prosecution didn't leak anything. What did they leak? What did they leak? Everything that we read was in the court papers. I mean, everything we know about the case was public information. It was in the court papers. I mean, you're saying they shouldn't have put that much out in the court papers? Now, I do feel like they didn't need to have no press conference. I mean, I understand why they did it, That's a small county. They probably had a lot of phone calls. They were probably getting a lot of requests for interviews and stuff like that. And they were probably like, look, we're going to go ahead and do this damn press conference, say everything that needs to be said, because ain't nobody got time to keep answering this phone. I feel like that's probably why they did it, but I feel like they're using the media to try their case. Oh, okay. Okay. Giselle gave us a summary about her life in which it didn't happen on her TV. Right, because most of what she talked about, we ain't see on television. I mean, again, it just goes back to Giselle didn't have a storyline. There was nothing for us to talk about for Giselle because Giselle didn't give us nothing. And that was obvious, the fact that they couldn't even piece nothing together to give you a package. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, we know that, Agnes. A plea deal doesn't always mean no jail time. True. Has Giselle ever had a storyline? I mean, she has. Yeah, Giselle has had storylines before. Sure has. Yeah. But that was pretty much it, y'all. We have come to the end of another season of the Real Housewives of Potomac. I'm sure they're going to start filming in about 2 months. So we're going to find out in the next week or so who's staying and who's going, if anybody's being demoted, if anybody's going to be promoted. It'll be interesting to see how this plays out. I 100% believe Karen is coming back full-time next season. And then we'll see who comes around, who's going to be around that. I don't think after this season, I don't think anybody's job is guaranteed. I don't think we can say, oh, we know this person's coming back. Oh, we know this person's coming back. But I think Karen being at this reunion and being given this much time at the reunion tells me all I need to know, that if Karen wants her job, it's hers to have. Now, whether she wants it or not, I don't know. But if Karen wants to come back full-time next season, I 100% believe she will have that opportunity. Didn't Angel say she was leaving? I don't pay attention to any of that. I don't pay attention to any of that stuff until I hear an official word from their official announcement. I don't pay attention to none of that. Oh yeah, if Wendy wants to come back, she Wendy got it. Wendy got a flute. Yeah, I don't believe any of that until I hear it. Like I said, they generally don't say anything about casting until after the season is over, and that includes reunion. No, Dominique, I'm Dominique Devereaux. I don't watch that channel, so no. Yeah. All right, y'all. Let me get out of here. I'm gonna try to double up on Married to Medicine tomorrow. It'll depend on if I get home early enough to be able to go live before El Teddy. I'm getting ready to watch the episode now, so I will have watched the episode. If I get home early enough that I can go ahead and do that before El Teddy goes live, and get out of his way, then I will. If not, then I will we'll get caught up this week on Married to Medicine and Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. We'll get caught up this week. Other than that, you guys, let me go ahead and get out of here. And I will talk to y'all later. Mwah. And Raven, you know I still love you, girl. Talk to y'all later.